that, Mick. Next speaker is the legal manager of the TAC, Ricky Maynard.
Go,
Look, don't let anyone tell you that we have not got a treaty. We have had a treaty since 1831. The only thing is, they have not honoured it, and we shall not rest until that treaty is honoured. So shame on them. Now, that treaty, can you hear me now, Karen? That treaty has not been honoured. The terms of that treaty were to provide land for Aboriginal exclusive use, not to interfere with our traditions and customs, and that we have protection, supply provisions, and that for a short time on Flinders we were to return. There was never any mention about us being exiled on Flinders Island in those bloody negotiations. And unfortunately, the government of the time, their intentions weren't genuine. They used deceitfulness, which they still do today, to try and shaft us. If we fast forward to 1846, there's an Aboriginal bloke from Ben Lomond called Walter George Arthur. He and 7 other adult Aborigines on Flinders put a petition together, and that petition went to the Queen of the time, and that petition reminded her of that bloody treaty we entered into. And the government of the time recognised us, so therefore they must have recognised us as a nation and recognised that we were a sovereign people. Yeah. Now, I'll just quote a section from that petition he sent to the Queen in 1846, and I quote, "Mr. Robinson made for us and with Colonel Arthur an agreement which we have not lost from our minds since, and we have made our part of it good." And I'll just read 2 small extracts from Robinson's journals. "Removed to Flinders Island with provisions, clothing, shelter, and a guarantee that they could live in their traditional way without interference or injury, and to return to their homelands." Did they return us? No. No, they bloody didn't.
They stole our land.
Absolutely.
Bloody racist.
The next quote from Robinson's journals, and these were part of the negotiations. "The Aborigines relied with implicit faith on the fulfilment of the promises I made to them on behalf of the government." Clearly there was a treaty. That treaty is still in existence. It was breached. Clearly there is a duty for this government to honour that treaty today. And until this injustice is overturned, we will always remain a cheated people on the behest of a government of thieves. And just quickly, because I know Trudy's dying to get up here, I just want to go over some random dates, and this will make a point, and I'll tell you about this point in a minute. In 1871, Aborigines petitioned the government for sections of Muttonbird Islands to be set aside for the exclusive use to practice birding. That's asserting our rights to land and pursuing our culture. In 1909, the Argus newspaper featured a story titled "People of the Barren." It went on to describe how the men conducted endless conversations about their rights to land, long leases and inheritance rights. Aborigines required land to provide inheritance rights, ownership for handing down to their future generations. Fast forward to 1931. One person said to a missionary called Needham on Cape Barren Island, and I quote, "If a case were brought in a federal court, the Tasmanian government would be forced to pay rent to Aborigines for the island of Tasmania." In 1977, the Queen celebrating her Silver Jubilee toured Tasmania. She was met by Michael Mansell, who reminded her of our position. What's the point of this? This demonstrates that we have pursued a continuous campaign to fight for our rights, our land and our heritage. And to this day, that's been 181 years. they must honour this treaty, and enshrined in that treaty will be our land, protection of our cultural heritage, and recognition of us as a sovereign people. And just finally, I'd like to, for each and every one of you to make a pledge. Pledge that you'll always remain hopeful, steadfastly determined, and compassionate in your commitment to assist us with overcoming this injustice. Thank you.